the Thursday, December 16th, 2021 session of the North Carolina Property Tax Commission. I'm Bob Hunter, Chairman of the Commission. Joining us today on our Commission panel is Vice Chairman Terry Wheeler, Commissioner Bill Peasley, Commissioner Alex Guest, and Commissioner June Michaud. We have our Secretary and Counsel, Steve Pelfrey, and we have Lynn Garrett, our court reporter, and Alexandra Bendette, who operates our host site and is on staff at the Property Tax Commission. I understand we just have one matter today, and that's Falls Valley Second LLC 21 Property Tax Commission 0314 here from New Hanover County. We originally had another case from New Hanover, the GSC Holdings case, and that was settled. And we had two on today for no AV 14s or no AV 63s. Both of those have been settled, and we've already had our administrative session. So I think we have Ms. Huffman on from New Hanover County, and I believe Mr. Jackson, who's appearing as on behalf of Falls Valley Second LLC, and he is a member, manager, and qualifies to appear on behalf of the taxpayer. Ms. Oh, by the way, we have on our calendar any one that has a conflict, appearance of conflict. That statement is there, so please let me know. Our members, seeing none. Ms. Huffman, we'll hear from you as your motion to dismiss in this matter.
This is Sharon Huffman. Can you hear me?
We hear you now.
Thank you, sir.
We don't see you.
No, our county's poor. We don't have cameras on our computers, so you can't see my pretty face.
Wait a minute. That's New Hanover County. We're not going to believe that.
Good morning, commissioners. In the matter of 21 PTC 314 Falls Valley 2 LLC, I've located our Assistant Tax Administrator, Chris Boney, and he's here with me if you have questions. I understand that Mr. Jackson is there on behalf of Falls Valley 2. This is a motion to dismiss, and you should have there with you copies of the motion to dismiss I filed. And there's some information here that I included because it was somewhat confusing for me as I was going through the file, and I thought it might be for you. So there's some additional info in here that I might otherwise not have included. But first of all, let me just say that this one appeal does involve 6 different parcels. And if you can follow the motion to dismiss, number 1, it lists the 6 different parcels. The first parcel is a common area that has no value. And so there was not a notice of value mailed to this LLC for that property, number 1, because it had no value. There were notice of values on property 2 through 6 mailed to the address of record with the tax office, and those are attached as exhibit number 1. Again, this is for property 2 through 6 that's listed in number 1 of the motion to dismiss.
Hey, Debbie, do you have the 2021 tax bills? Could you get them for me?
They were in your file.
I'm sorry, is someone talking to me? I'll proceed then. Exhibit number 1 that's attached to the motion to dismiss are the different the different notice of values that were sent for property 2 through 6. And this notice of value for each of these is dated February 19, 2021, and was mailed on that date. If that is incorrect information, I'll ask Mr. Boney to correct me when I finish with my comments. But that notice of value is dated February 19, 21, and was mailed on that date to the address of record, P.O. Box 252, Blowing Rock, NC. The next item that's here, number 5 on my motion to dismiss, states that previous to that time, on December 1, 2020, the taxpayer submitted a notice of address change for tax parcel such and such. This was in fact the tax parcel number for property 1, which was the common area that had no value, and therefore a notice of value was not mailed on that particular parcel number. Now, the problem is that since Falls Valley 2 sent in on the online portal a change of address for that one parcel, and that is attached as exhibit number 2 to the motion to dismiss. They sent in the address change on December 1 for that parcel, changing the address from the Blowing Rock address to a St. Augustine Beach address. The problem is that that was for the parcel that had no value, and a notice of value was never sent. There was not an address change sent in online portal for the other parcels, and therefore the tax office had no notice and didn't know that an address change was intended for the other parcels. So again, the other parcels, the ones that did have value, a notice of value was mailed on February 19 to the address of record in Blowing Rock. And the 30 days that the notice of value provides for an appeal to be made, which would have been up to and including March 19 of 21, that day came and went, and no appeal was ever received by the tax office. Then, according to my motion to dismiss paragraph number 6, on June the 2nd, the taxpayer sent in, and this is exhibit 3 to the motion to dismiss, on June 2 of 21, Mr. Jackson, on behalf of Falls Valley, listing his St. Augustine address, sent in a request to the tax office to appeal the values. And he lists all of the parcels in that letter that's attached to exhibit 3. He states here that the addresses that had previously been given in Blowing Rock were incorrect, that they did not have such a post office box, and therefore had not received the notices of the notice of value for any of these parcels. Again, at the time that this was received on June 2, the tax office only had the Blowing Rock addresses for all of the parcels that a notice of value had been sent for. After the tax office received that letter of June 2, which is exhibit 3, the New Hanover County Tax Office responded by letter dated June 7, 2021, that the appeal request had not been filed in a timely fashion, and therefore the tax office could not proceed to hear the appeal request. That letter from the New Hanover County Tax Office is exhibit 4, and that is the basic letter from the tax office directed to Falls Valley at then the address that was given the St. Augustine address. That letter from the tax office was sent to Falls Valley stating that your appeal was not timely and therefore at this point, New Hanover County cannot hear your appeal. After receipt of that letter, Falls Valley 2 did file their AV 14 and included a letter with it that was sent down to our office, and that letter is Exhibit 5. That letter dated July 6th, which appears would have been within the 30 days necessary to file their AB 14. That letter states that on December 1, they had submitted a change of address. Again, unfortunately, that change of address that was submitted by Falls Valley was only for the one parcel that there was not a notice of value sent on, and New Hanover County didn't know that there was a different address for all the other parcels. It's interesting to me that if you look at Exhibit 5, the letter from Falls Valley to the Property Tax Commission, they're still listing their P.O. Box 152 in Blowing Rock, which is the one that they are stating is incorrect. It's on the letter and it's also on the AB 14. They list the Blowing Rock address for Falls Valley 2. After the AB 14 was submitted back in July, they followed up, the taxpayer followed up on October 14 of 21, and this is attached as Exhibit 6. If you'll turn over to Exhibit 6, there are numerous pages attached. On October 6th, Falls Valley went into the online portal and did change all of their addresses to St. Augustine. When I filed the motion to dismiss, I served the motion to dismiss on Falls Valley, both the Blowing Rock address and the Florida address, because I really didn't know which one I should use. So I think I have been through all of these exhibits. The bottom line is that the notice of value was sent on February 19. According to the notice of value, there's 30 days to appeal. The date in March by which they would have needed to file their appeal came and went. And the first time that a notice of appeal was sent to New Hanover County was on June 2 of 21, which was past the 30 days to appeal and also past the time that the Board of ENR had recessed, which was May 11. And therefore, the taxpayer's appeal request to the New Hanover County Board of Equalization and Review was not timely filed, and we would respectfully request that this appeal be dismissed. And again, Mr. Chris Boney, our Assistant Tax Administrator, is here with me if you have questions for him.
Okay, Mr. Jackson, you've heard the county and Ms. Huffman state the reasons for the motion to dismiss the appeal that you filed, and we'll hear from you at this time, sir. You're muted, Mr. Jackson.
We good?
You're good now? Yes, sir, and we see you.
Good morning, James Jackson. I'm manager for Falls Valley 2 LLC. In December of 2020, I called the tax department to change the address that we had discovered was incorrect to P.O. Box 152, Blowing Rock, North Carolina. And the person who assisted me, this was not a portal submittal, this was a telephone call. And the email confirmation that I received in December said for me to keep that email from my records, which I did, of course, and I submitted that with these letters. It did not say what address. It just said, keep this email for your records. And that in turn was submitted, that telephone call request was submitted to, in the portal to PO Box 252. So in the summer of 2020, I believe it was in August, this originally was a one parcel, 1.2 acre lot, and it was divided into 7 lots, one of which is the homeowner's lot. And that homeowner's lot has the same tax number as the single parcel did. So the parcel change in December 1st of 2020 was only applied to that homeowner's lot, which a notice was not sent. And what happened, of course, was that in December and in early January, the mapping of of these 7 parcels was not online. So until May of 2021, the official zoning map of Wilmington was not updated to include these new 7 parcels from the 1 parcel. And also the GIS mapping was not updated. So when I called in to change it in December of 20, the person was only looking at a single parcel, which is why it was only changed on the 1 homeowner's parcel, which a notice was not sent. So in that process, the development wasn't fully complete in January 1st of 2021. And so it was in process of being adopted by the city, and it was not complete. So that's the cause of how the evolution of all these parcels and why the tax notices went out to an incorrect address. So that's the reason I filed the appeal, was based on that information. If you have any questions, please ask me at this time.
Mr. Jackson, well, let me see if Ms. Huffman has some questions, and then commission members.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Huffman?
Mr. Jackson, did you ever receive anything at the PO Box 252 Blowing Rock?
No. Well, I think some mailings did trail in afterwards. I'd have to check with Debbie, she's here, that may have been forwarded from the PO Box 152 to our address here in St. Augustine. But I did not receive any of the notices of the new tax rates. So I was completely in the blind on that until the first part of June of 2021 as to the valuations.
Well, I guess I was just confused because you said that you weren't receiving anything at that address, and yet the documents that you filed. Oh, I see. The document you filed with the PTC was 152, so there was a PO box at 152.
That's right. When I called in on the phone on the portal, the person must have written it, that everybody was working remotely, must have written it down incorrectly and then submitted it through the portal, of course, and I had made the phone call. And that's why she sent me the email that said, please keep this for your records. Unfortunately, that email did not include the new address, or I would have spotted that it was submitted at 252. And yeah, the correct address is 152 at that time. Of course, since then we've evolved and located the corporations in St. Augustine.
Anything further, Ms. Huffman?
I'm asking my tax guy who's here, who's familiar with all this. If you give me just a second.
Sure.
Is there anything, Mr. Bunny, we should ask Mr. Jackson?
The only thing, of course, is that this is a request to allow the appeal on the valuation, and the basis for that is that the zoning the tax department was not aware of the zoning from the R10 to the R5 district. Typically, zoning does not affect property valuations. However, it does affect the comps. And so the valuations that were put on these 6 parcels were based on R10 lots, which of course are much larger lots. An R5 lot is restricted to no wider than 50 feet. And so because of the small size of those lots, you're talking about much smaller structures. And so the net yield and property value is diminished when you start looking at comparables that reflect that type of that lot profile.
Mr. Huffman, we really can't get into the merits of your appeal. It's only here today on the question of whether or not you're entitled
To appeal, yeah. You're right. Yes, sir.
We'll wait on Ms. Huffman to see if she has something else, and then we'll see, or if
I don't have any other questions of Mr. Jackson. The things he's talking about now, I'm truly not familiar with or prepared to ask him about. I guess the bottom line again is that the notice of value on the 5 properties that had value, and that notices were sent on February 19 of 21. They directed the agent to respond if they wish to appeal within 30 days. That was not done. The Board of E&R continued to hear appeals and recessed on May 11 of 21. Once that time came and went, the Board of Equalization and Review could not accept any other appeals, and therefore this appeal from Mr. Jackson, dated June 2 of 21, was untimely and could not be accepted. And that is simply the basis of the county's motion to dismiss.
Mr. Jackson, let me ask you a question. Did you file a written response? The only thing we have in file is submitted by the county in their motion.
A response to
Their motion, did you file anything in writing in response to their motion?
no, I did not.
Okay, just wasn't sure. We didn't have anything. Okay,
Yeah,
questions?
I didn't obviously pick up on that. If I should have, I certainly regret that.
Questions from commissioners? Vice Chairman Wheeler.
Mr. Boney, are you there?
I'm going to get him over here where you can hear him.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
All right, it's my understanding in Exhibit 4, the Board of E&R met from January 1, 21 until May 11, 21. Is that correct?
May 11th of 2021. That is correct. Yes, sir.
In Exhibit 2, which is a copy of the email that Mr. Jackson spoke about, he is making note of that telephone or that conversation that he had on Tuesday, December 1st, 2020, which was about a month before the Board of E&R started meeting. And it's changing his address from Blowing Rock to St. Augustine.
It's actually changing it.
I'm talking to Mr. Boney.
My apologies.
That's correct. You're correct. It's changing it from Blowing Rock to St. Augustine. Correct?
That's what.
Why wouldn't you change?
Sorry.
Why wouldn't you change all his addresses?
Or is that no, sir? That only changes that one parcel. It did not change the other
Which
parcels that
parcel?
were involved.
But this email doesn't speak to a specific parcel.
It actually, I'm sorry. Actually, it does. If you look underneath the subject, it says parcel numbers. There's a parcel number just below that it refers to, which is the HOA parcel.
That's the one that's not taxable.
That's correct. Yes, sir.
I guess.
Go ahead.
I guess all the taxpayers' parcels had the Blowing Rock address, right?
Yes. I
And they
believe
should have
that's
had the
correct.
St. Augustine. I guess maybe in some conversation over the phone, there would have been some discussion about, do you want to change it for all the parcels or just the one? Because typically taxpayers may not understand parcel numbers and
Sorry. When our staff, the email that I'm looking at is from the online portal. If staff was the one that did the data entry into the portal for the owner, they would not have looked up every parcel that they own to change it. They would have only changed the one that was asked. Because different property, we have owners who have multiple properties with different mailing addresses.
okay.
That they want those bills and notices to go to different addresses. So we do not change everything that one owner owns unless we're asked.
All right. Thank you.
Mr. Jackson, let me ask you a question. At the time that that email was generated, 2020, you were talking about when the property was actually subdivided, and that was, what was the status of that property on December the 20th, 2020? Had it already been subdivided into these 6 lots as far as the tax records, or what?
Okay, so the subdivision was, of course, the 7 lots, and this email is addressing the tax parcel number for the entire 1.2 acres. The HOA property inherited that tax parcel ID number, and so obviously that split created, bypassed the additional lots. As far as my recollection is when I was speaking with the person who changed the address, she was looking at one parcel as well. And until late May and June of this year, 2021, the GIS site for the New Hanover County was showing one parcel, and the Wilmington official zoning map was showing one parcel. So there were still additional development issues that were being resolved in that construction development process, that the lots were not complete and were in transition.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Huffman,
Mr. Chairman, I'm not sure I understood his answer, and the question was really quite simple.
well, I'm trying to clarify that just to say, let's see if we can get
Okay.
a clarification. Ms. Huffman, when was the tax parcels changed? Do you know, from the one parcel to the 7, I guess it is, parcels?
I'm going to ask Mr. Boney if he knows.
Yes, sir. I'm not exactly aware of the date that the plat was created, but all those parcels were created and separated for January the 1st, 2021. All the address changes that would have been made to those parcels would have occurred for January the 1st, 2021, and all the documents that would go with that year.
Okay. Now, Mr. Peasley,
It's about as clear as mud.
okay, anybody have any other questions?
Chairman. Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
Mr. Guest.
Mr. Guest.
All right, this is for the county. The taxpayer called in, I believe, on December 20th and spoke with someone and requested that the address for the parcel be changed. That parcel, the taxpayer has stated, encompassed the entire piece of property on December 20th. The county just said they didn't separate the parcels into 7 parcels until January of 2021. My question is, if the taxpayer changed the address on the entire property in December, and the county did not separate the property until January of 2021, why did the county not put that one address through all properties and make everything St. Augustine? Is this not an error on the county's behalf? That's my question.
Mr. Boney will respond now, sir.
Yes, sir. The staff, since all bills and all notices have already gone out to the property owners throughout 2020, all changes at this point in the year, particularly in this was December 1st of 2020. All documentation that would be going to the property owner would be for the tax year 2021, which is why the information would have only been updated in that one tax year, not in previous tax year.
Okay, anybody else have anything? All right, Ms. Huffman, anything further from the county?
No, sir.
Mr. Jackson, anything further from the taxpayer?
No, thank you, sir, and thank you, everyone.
All right, and I don't see anybody else that has a question. So we'll go into executive session and deliberate on this matter, and as soon as we have a decision, we will be back online for everyone. Ms. Bendette, can you put us in our executive session, please, ma'am? Can you hear us okay?
Yes, sir. I can hear you if you can hear me.
And Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
Okay,
I'm
well,
here.
we got everybody back. Okay, the commission, after reviewing the file and hearing the presentations, and considering that, is voted unanimously to deny the motion to dismiss and remand this matter back to the New Hanover County Board of Equalization and Review to hear the appeal. All right,
Understood. Thank you, sir.
sure, and thank y'all, and everyone have a nice holidays and stay safe. And thank you, Mr. Jackson and Ms. Huffman. We appreciate your appearance today, and Mr. Bonner, I believe it was as well. So thank you very much. This will end our sessions for 2021. We'll be back virtual again for January session, and we hope in February able to be in person again. It'd be nice if we get back where everyone can get out and do more and be around each other, but we have to make sure everyone is safe. All right, thank you very much, and we stand adjourned. Oh, Terry, did you have anything? Oh, y'all just waving.
No, we're
Okay.
just saying bye. Bye,
Okay,
everyone.
just waving. Just wanted to be sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye
you,
now.
Linda. Steve.
Thank you, commissioners.
Okay.
You want file? Got all the mess in it. Hopefully you can get it resolved with him.